I know you don't like dealing with politics, and I keep telling you and anybody that listens, maybe you don't like dealing with it, but you have to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do know to this degree you are aware of the politics of MAGA and Republicans that has been trying to get rid of inclusion, equity, and diversity. Are you aware that that's been going on?
I'm so sorry. That last part, inclusion, equity,
and diversity.
Am I aware of what's going on?
Are you aware that that's been happening in certain states and places in the United States?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, here's a place where it's reared its ugly head. Take a look at this headline.
Okay.
A grant program for Black women business owners is deemed discriminatory by an appeals court. And let me go on to read what it says.
Yeah.
The case against the Fearless Fund was brought last year by the American Alliance for Equal Rights, a group led by Edward Bloom, the conservative activist behind the Supreme Court case that ended affirmative action in college admissions. In a 2-1 ruling, the panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit in Miami, of course, this is Florida, found that Bloom was likely to prevail in his lawsuit, claiming the grant program violates Section 1981 of the 1866 Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of race when enforcing contracts. The Reconstruction era law was originally intended to protect formerly enslaved people from economic inclusion, but anti-affirmative action activists have been leveraging it to challenge programs intended to benefit minority-owned businesses.
Yeah.
See, that's that bull job about trying to make America great again.
Bullshit.
And all I can say is this is another important reason why you have to vote the people who are against this, because they need to amend that shit. Because judges know why it was put on the books, but because of the way it sits and says on the books, they're using it to interpret it for the opposite meaning of why it was put in place in the first place. And so, Mo, that's why I'm saying it's important to vote. Democrats have been running their mouths about this type of stuff, but there are these places where these type of things keep ruling. Having said all that, what do you say about this whole situation for Black women?
This is a lot. Actually, I heard something about this recently. I cannot remember where, but no, I mean, this is very alarming. This is very concerning. It's also very strategic. It's very intentional. And it's just, sorry, I'm taking it back because
it's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we have. It's like freaking, I don't know. It's so hard to see how far backwards we went after Obama's term. And again, I'm going to keep saying, I'm not saying he did everything perfect. I'm not saying I agreed with everything, but we're not going to pretend like that wasn't a good as far as politicians go. He was a good president. He had somewhat of a moral compass. You know what I mean? He was seemingly a decent human being. He did implement a lot of good things for people, for the greater good. And I just, to see how far backwards we have gone is very discouraging. And I'm very concerned. I mean, Black women, we know we already by default are at the bottom of the totem pole. We are at the bottom, and we know that. But just to see how the government, especially Republicans, everything from women's rights and reproductive rights to just immigration stuff to just the list goes on. And yeah, y'all, we I know we say this every few years, but baby, this election is very, 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 very crucial. It's very crucial. Like Lamont has been saying on his platform, it's not to say Biden is just so amazing. We know his his flaws, his faults. We know it, but you can't tell me the other person is a better pick. If
And
you've been paying attention and seeing what he's trying to do, what he's trying to implement, you can't tell me you want to support that. And if you do, then I don't know. I don't know.
The most important reason people need to vote for Biden is because of the courts. Again, I can't stress enough how these appellate courts and appeal courts and the Supreme Court, these are all appointments of the president. And the reason why these things keep happening across the United States is because Donald Trump put in more judges in these courts than anybody in U.S. history.
Yep.
And some of these people didn't even have law license, and he putting their asses in the damn court. Come on, y'all. Like, I get Biden hasn't been that great. I get Biden has handled the situation in Israel very harmfully. But if you think you're going to get a better reaction out of Trump,
Right.
you're not. And then if you think that things at home are going to get better under Trump, they really ain't. They really not. That is important.